Mpasua Msonobari TV, pale ambapo habari hukutana na wataalamu.
Tob Cohen is to be buried on a spot marked 184, which he himself had chosen in the Jewish cemetery on Wangari Mathai Road, according to the standard in Kenya. In normal circumstances, burial is done as fast as possible, mostly after 36 hours after the demise of a loved one, according to the Jewish rituals. The coffin must be 100% wood and no metal at all. This is because Jews believe that as soon as the casket goes to the grave, it should decompose as quickly as possible. No metal screws, no metal staples, everything is made of wood. Numerous holes are made at the bottom of the coffin so that the body in the coffin is actually touching the soil to facilitate the quick decomposition of the body. The casket is seen by close family members as briefly as possible, if need be. Sometimes it's not seen at all. Only the top half of the coffin is able to be opened and not the entire top, since there are no metal hinges used on the coffin. The coffin is made from the cheapest wood that one can get, signifying from the Jewish point of view that all people are equal, at least in death. The body is washed and clothed in plain white by a special person. Sometimes, the close family members are allowed to be there as witnesses. The body is not cremated, rather, it is buried so as to allow it to decompose naturally and as fast as possible. Among the strict Jews, the body is carried in a cloth and placed in the grave directly on the soil, again to facilitate quick decomposition. However, in the more modern Jews, and especially for dignitaries and military people, caskets are used. Flowers are never a common thing in most Jewish funerals, and instead, the Jewish people are encouraged to donate that money to charity or needy people. Jewish funeral service starts not so much in a synagogue or some designated place, but mostly at the burial ground. In the case of Tob Cohen, it was at the Jewish cemetery along Wangari Mathai Road. Just before the funeral service, the Rabbi, who conducts the entire service, cuts the so-called black ribbon. This symbolizes the individual breaking away of the deceased from the loved ones here on earth. The funeral ceremony itself is brief and it entails recitation of psalms, reading of the eulogy, and ends up with the traditional closing prayer. During the funeral service, no music is allowed to play or to be played, just as no tape recorders, cameras, or phones are allowed to record any footage from the funeral service. Male guests during the service are required to wear suits with tie and head covering as shown in the picture. Female guests are expected to wear conservatively and modestly with no head covering. Just before the burial, family members have to make a unique and ritualistic tear on their outer garments. Parents to the deceased tear the upper left side of their garment, just above the heart, and the siblings to the deceased tear the upper right side of their garment, just above the heart. Three shovels of soil are first thrown into the grave before the main process of filling it with soil begins. The shovel used to return the soil into the grave must be held by the people at the funeral, head pointing up to show the mystery that death is, and when its main work starts, it's passed along by putting it back on the ground and then the other person picking it from there, to avoid passing to each other the grief of the day. After the burial, just before the service ends, a special kind of prayer is made to signify and affirm that divine judgment is righteous. There are no greetings during the funeral service until the deceased is buried, to ensure that all attention and respect is accorded to the deceased. After the burial, the mourning period, otherwise known as Shiva, takes 7 days. During this time, the bereaved family is visited and comforted at their home, and certain rituals, such as covering mirrors, burning of memorial candles, and wearing black ribbon that was cut from the funeral service, may be performed. During the Shiva mourning period, men are not allowed to shave, women to wear makeup, and couples refrain from being intimate This shows the self-sacrifice that each of them is putting up with as a way of paying special respect to the deceased. From Mpasua Msonobari TV, we send our deepest condolences to the family of Tob Cohen. Let us all remember that the first to apologize is the bravest, the first to forgive is the strongest, and the first to forget is the happiest.
Mpasua Msonobari TV, pale ambapo habari hukutana na wataalamu.